I'd like to talk a little bit about graphology. It is the study of writing, and I learned a lot about it. When I got Rebecca's case file, I began to look through it, and in it were photocopies of a journal that they found in a pile in the living room. I believe the detective quoted, I'm going to quote her, I believe she said it was that her things were haphazardly laying about. So I got to looking at the journal, the photocopies of the journal, and this is the last page of all of those photocopies. And I noticed that this is very dark, and I wasn't quite sure why. It's the only page that's written in black marker, and it reads like a 12-year-old girl does not expect other people to read her journal. And this is directed at other people. And it says, every day more and more kids kill themselves because of bullying. How many lives have to be lost until people realize that words do matter? Share if you're against bullying. I bet 98% of you won't share this photo, but that 2% that have hearts will share it. Click that share button. This is written as if it was a Facebook post. There are no share buttons on this piece of paper. Now, aside from what it says, when I got to looking at it, if you could get up close, on the outside of some of these letters is a light outline that comes out from underneath the black marker, as if it was written in pencil or something first and then gone over in marker. And I'm assuming that those marks weren't on the original page, but I do know one thing. If you write on a piece of paper in pencil and then you erase it, then you stick that piece of paper on a photocopier, the photocopier will pick up those indentions from the original writing and print it as if the pencil mark was still there, because the indention is there. And if someone were to write something originally in pencil, go over it in black marker, and then erase the pencil from underneath it, you wouldn't see the pencil on the original document because it would have been erased. But if you put that original document on a photocopier, that photocopier will pick up those pencil marks that have been erased as if they were still there and print them, just like here. Now, why would someone write originally in pencil, go over it in black marker, and then erase from underneath? Well, if they were trying to simulate handwriting, then that's what they would do. This looks like it had been written and erased and written and erased and written and erased so many times that all of this extra writing came up as shadows behind it. Also, none of these letters, none of this writing looks anything like all the pages before it. It's very, very different. So, I suspected that this was not written by Rebecca Sedwick, but it was written by someone who intended it to look like it was written by Rebecca Sedwick because of the pencil marks gone over in permanent marker and then erased from underneath. So I began to look to see if I had any other samples of Rebecca Sedwick's handwriting, and I did. In the November 30th, 2012 recant of abuse, Rebecca writes a statement, and it's all in her own writing, and the police officer took it for the report. So I have quite a bit of Rebecca's known handwriting, and this absolutely, as far as I was concerned at the time, didn't match it. However, I did have some handwriting that it did match, but we'll get to that later. So I knew that I needed to have this analyzed. I was sure that this wasn't written by Rebecca Sedwick. So I began to look for a handwriting expert that would analyze this and put their and tell me what they thought, conclude whether it was a forgery or whether it was true handwriting of Rebecca Sedwick. So I found one. Her name is Wendy Carlson, and she is an expert graphologist. Her credentials are far and wide, and so is her experience. I did this myself. I was 100% sure, minus an expert check mark, that this was a forgery. So, and it happened right around income tax time. I had just got my income tax, I believe, the day before, and I sent this to Wendy a couple of days before that. She sent me an email and told me how much it was going to be and said that the report was ready. I paid $950 over the phone with my debit card for the report on the Rebecca Sedwick journal page. And her conclusion was that Rebecca Sedwick did not write this. This is a forgery. But the person that did write it did it with the intention of making it look like Rebecca Sedwick wrote it. I didn't have enough money to pay her to compare this to the handwriting that I suspected of the person that wrote it. So I'm still waiting on that. I'm sure that you all can figure out who I think did it. I'm pretty sure. So the words do matter slogan that has been used to collect a lot of donations for Rebecca Sedwick's mom. And she quotes it. She has had it printed on teddy bears and bracelets and t-shirts, and she has sold it and made a lot of money out of it and quoted it and claimed that Rebecca Sedwick wrote it, that it was in Becca's journal and she loved the quote, but Rebecca Sedwick didn't write it. So it's all garbage. The police do not have this report. The Polk County Sheriff's Department, all of the detectives, I'm sure that this journal page, along with the rest of the journal, went through multiple hands at the Polk County Sheriff's Department, and no one noticed that the last page didn't at all match the rest of that journal. Or they did notice and they just ignored that fact because they were already going to cover this up. But it didn't take a genius to look at it and go, that doesn't look anything like the rest of it. And consequently, it is the only thing that talks about killing yourself or anything like that in the whole damn case.